Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world, one book at a time.
Okay, so today we are diving into a book that asks some really tough, really important questions. It's Abolition Democracy by the one and only Angela Y. Davis. Now, if you've heard of Angela Davis, you know she's a giant. She's been a leading scholar and activist for decades, and her work has consistently zeroed in on prisons, punishment, and race in America. This book is a collection of interviews, and it really gets to the heart of her most powerful arguments. So, right off the bat, the book throws this massive contradiction at us. It's one of those things that, once you really see it, it's pretty much impossible to unsee. So here it is, the big question the whole book revolves around. Can a society really call itself democratic while it depends on prisons, on torture, on a system of punishment that is so deeply tangled up with race? The book is asking us to look past the fancy words, the ideals we talk about, and get real about what our institutions are actually doing. So how do we even begin to answer a question that huge? Well, Davis says we've got to go back, way back. And it's really important to get this part. This is not about pointing fingers or blaming individuals. It's a systems analysis. It's like tracing the DNA of our world today back to where it all started. And here's the core argument, the absolute heart of the book. Things like the prison system, like state violence, they aren't a mistake. They're not a bug in the system. Davis argues they are a feature, and it's a feature that was inherited, passed down directly from the structure and the very logic of slavery itself. And you can see this handoff happen clear as day. So, in 1865, the 13th Amendment abolishes slavery. But wait, there's this massive loophole, a huge exception, except as a punishment for a crime. And that loophole was immediately blown wide open. Southern states passed what were called black laws, which basically criminalized things like unemployment for newly freed black people. And what did that lead to? The convict lease system, where these new criminals were leased out for labor in a system many historians have called even worse than slavery. And wow, this quote from the great W.E.B. Du Bois, which Davis uses in her analysis, just hits you right in the chest. It lays it all out. The label changed, right? You went from slave to criminal. But the function, a system of control, of forced labor, stayed terrifyingly similar. Okay, so this is a huge, heavy idea, right? How do you really wrap your head around a problem this big? Well, the book gives us this one really clear, powerful metaphor that makes it all click. We often talk about fixing problems in society like we're fixing a house. We see a crack in the wall and we think, okay, let's just grab some spackle and patch that right up. But what Davis is saying here is we're looking at the wrong thing. The problem isn't a crack in the wall. The problem is the foundation, the whole thing. Davis's argument is that American democracy was built right on top of the foundation of slavery, a foundation that was never actually dug up and replaced. We just built over it. And if that's true, well, patching the cracks will never be enough because the whole structure is fundamentally unsound. So, if the entire foundation is the problem, what do? You can't just patch it. This is where we get to the core concept of the book, the big idea for what comes next. And that idea is called Abolition Democracy, a term she gets from W.E.B. Du Bois. And the concept is actually pretty simple, but it's also incredibly profound. It's this: just getting rid of a bad system is only half the battle. At the exact same time, you have to be actively building the new, life-affirming institutions you want to see in its place. Think of it like two sides of the same coin. You can't have one without the other. On one side, you have abolition. That's the taking away part, dismantling oppressive systems like prisons. But that has to be paired with the other side, democracy. That's the building up part. It means proactively investing our resources into things that actually create safety and well-being. We're talking fully funded schools, universal healthcare that includes mental health services, guaranteed housing, and robust communities. So when you put those two things together, the tearing down and the building up, what you get is a totally different way of thinking about justice and freedom. It asks us to shift our whole perspective. And this quote from Davis herself just nails it. The goal isn't just to fight for a chance to have a more diverse group of people running the machinery of oppression. The real challenge is to dismantle that machinery entirely and build something new, something that isn't embedded with the legacy of racism. And that really leaves us with the book's final lingering question. If we were to truly commit to this vision, what would we pour our resources, our creativity, and our collective energy into building instead of cages? What does that society even look like? For the full, long-form, deep dive into this book and its ideas, follow the link in the description. If you enjoy these explainers, please subscribe and comment with books or topics we should explore next.